Well, on this episode, we're hunting my home turf, my old stomping grounds. It's a beautiful time of year in Tennessee. Red buds are popping, leaves are about the size of a squirrel's ear. It is a wonderful time to be in the spring turkey woods.
Turkey Hunter is brought to you by Browning, the best there is.
Well, Dad and I are heading to a piece of property we know well. There's a branch that runs into the Harpeth River right there, and it's just got turkey written all over it. We've killed turkeys there in the past. The Browning trail cameras have been showing a lot of gobblers show up at this spot. Well, opening day. I took my little girl this morning. Dad and I did. Different location now. We killed some birds at in the past, but it's later afternoon. We're just gonna kill some time till dark and do a little turkey hunting. So let's do it. Well, Dad and I pick a high point on this field where you can see pretty much every corner of this field. Pretty good sized field. We set the decoys up, build some cover up around us, and we just start pretty calling. We're gonna give the iris hole right here. I know there's several gobblers right here, but it's a small piece of property, so we got hunters all around us. Well, as the evening wears on, we finally squeeze a gobble out of a bird in front of us, but he's in the next field in front of us, about 300 yards away. Minutes go by, never progresses. He's just staying in the same spot. I'm just assuming he has a bunch of hens. It gets later in the evening. Well, all at once, Dad hears the old telltale spitting drum to our right, and a gobbler has slipped in upon us, and we never even knew it. That just happened. We on the board in Tennessee. That dude never made a sound. I can't tell you how many times I called right here. Dad kept saying he heard a spitting drum over there. Well, guys, light is fading on opening day here in Tennessee, but we finally got it done on a beautiful copper gobbler, a double-bearded bird. He was on out there too when I shot him, but it didn't start off too eventful. I started off the day with my daughter and my dad, and Dad and I decided to come back out this afternoon to this particular spot, and we posted up. No turkeys out here in the field. We posted up in a known area right here, and just where you can see, put the decoy out. As I'm putting the decoy out, we hear a turkey gobble. And I'm like, all right, we're in the chips. So we sit there, I haven't even called, and we hear leaves crunching to our right, 2 jakes pop out. 5 more minutes goes by, a hen pops out. And Dad and I swear we heard a spitting drum when that hen popped out. And finally he knows for certain he hears it. And this turkey right here comes around the corner. come in silent. And we didn't get much of him, but we got enough of him. He come in and he didn't gobble like he normally do and stuff, but a lot of these subordinate birds won't do that, especially early season. And we only had a hen out, and I thought he was gonna come up to her there for a second, but he never did. And he got out there about 40, and with that Apex and that Indian Creek 665 and that Maxus, he couldn't tote it. It all hit him right there in the top of the head. A double-bearded Tennessee gobbler on opening day. We're gonna get after him again in the morning. Thank you, Lord, for this wonderful sport of turkey hunting. Well, sometimes the strong silent type is all you're gonna get. I love the gobble, but that spit and drum is a close second.
Turkey Hunter is also brought to you by Indian Creek Shooting Systems, Midwest Turkey Call Supply, Replica Decoy Company, Apex Ammunition, Strut No More Turkey Totes, Knight's Hunting Products, and Browning Trail Cameras.
Well, fast forward a week later and Dad and I are heading back to the clover plot where Bella killed her first bird. There's a lot of gobblers in that area, and Dad and I are hoping to fire one up. He's with her. Well, Dad and I are set up. We're in a good shady spot right here. We just missed the boat pretty much this morning. These gobblers had done hit the ground and started easing towards the cattle pasture before we made it here. They're just now gobbling again, so we're right here on this clover plot where Bella killed the other day. Beautiful spot. We're gonna give it some time right here. See if we can't get one of them interested. Well, the morning was pretty much slow. It was a 0. Dad and I sat till about midday, went and got something to eat, and come back that afternoon in hopes that one of them birds that was gobbling that morning would come take a peek in that clover plot. We're back on the same piece of property we was on this morning, but we were just late getting there, and the turkeys wanted to be on an adjoining piece of property, cattle pasture, and they already made it through our food plot. So we're gonna go back this afternoon. We left our turkey chairs and our decoys. We're gonna set up this afternoon hoping to intercept them coming back off of that pasture. So, we got about a mile walk. Well, the afternoon starts out quiet as well. I'm calling periodically with absolutely nothing responding. Time goes on, the sun starts setting, and all at once Dad taps me on the shoulder. He said, "There's a gobbler coming down the power line towards the food plot." Well, this bird's coming down the lane that leads right to that food plot. And he never struts, he never gobbles, he never does anything. But when a bird is showing progression like that, the best thing to do a lot of times is just be quiet until he decides to cut left or right. This bird hits the 30-yard mark and he's getting too far to the left. So I tell Dad I'm gonna go ahead and take him. I yelp to him, he sticks his head up, squeeze the trigger. The plan worked, but these turkeys, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why they don't want to act. It worked to a T. Come on. We ain't got much, but we got a turkey. I mean, these turkeys, they hit the ground and they just don't say another word. We said, you know what, we can play this game. You know, we can adapt, and we did. And we come up here and we set up. Of course, this is a clover field, a food plot Dad and I and a buddy of mine, Derek, planted, and just for this. And these turkeys are coming back in here to roost. Big hardwood ridges in behind us. We got us a gobbler, and it wasn't easily earned, let me tell you. This morning started out, we had some turkeys gobbling in this wood block right here. We kind of got caught between a rock and a hard place here. We come up here and found a good spot to tuck in, put the RDC feeding hen out in this clover field, and called, and turkeys up there gobbled, but nothing. Hen showed up, and Dad and I got hungry, so we left everything here, slept out, come back. And sure enough, right at dark, no gobbles. I called several times with a hacksaw and a ceramic and nothing. And right at dark, Dad looks up, he said, here comes the turkey. And sure enough, it was this lone gobbler here. And he didn't do much, but he come all the way in. He come down this road right here and Dad filmed him all the way. And they're all unique and every hunt's unique. And we adapted on this one. And we walking out these woods with a turkey on our back. You know, the success of this hunt had a lot to do with knowing how to check a bird's temperature. They were gobbling at my call, but they weren't progressing. That just meant at some point during the day, they were going to check to see where I was. And whether you're there or not, when he does that, has a lot to do with patience. And that's why we walked off that piece of property with a gobbler on our back.